estimated wait time is about 6 minutes.
Been on the line with FEMA for 52 minutes, 14 seconds now. I'm starting the recording. My FEMA ID number is 41-1922196. FEMA specialist ID number she gave was 550538.
Disaster assistance. My name is Bianca. My PIN is 549774. How may I assist you?
Yes, ma'am. I was on hold with someone. They was looking into my FEMA claim, and she told me she was gonna come back to the phone, and I guess it switched over to you. I apologize. I don't.
There's no need to apologize. Your call was just escalated. Okay. Are you calling in regards to North Carolina?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And what is the first and last name on the account?
Dorothy Cook.
Alrighty, and what is the last four of the social?
0468
What's the damaged dwelling address?
3451 Ward Boulevard, Wilson, North Carolina 27893.
Okay, and what's the mailing address?
I don't have one at the time. I was living with since then we've been living with people. I mean, I lost all my possessions and that I haven't been able to get back on my feet. And every time I turn around, they tell me something different and tell me to do something different. And the last thing I heard was back in 2022. Ma'am?
What's the mailing address? What's the mailing address on file?
That should be like 1607 Hargrove Street. But I don't know.
What's your date of birth?
July the 28th, 1967. It's been years ago though.
What's the current phone number?
252-813-7436.
What is your preferred language?
English.
And where are you currently living or staying?
With my daughter at her house or her apartment.
Okay. So how can I help you with this case?
I was trying to find what the status is. I don't have my personal things that still have not been replaced. When I first filed a claim, they said this person from FEMA was going to come out to inspect that property that was damaged, and that person never came. And then they told me they kept calling, call back and keep waiting because there was other people other than myself. So when I finally did that, the young lady that was like months and year later. So then they told me that the person they were sending out, they asked me if I still had the stuff, and I was like, well, no, because it was damaged. It had mold and all that kind of stuff on it, and I couldn't afford and didn't have money to pay, to keep that storage unit because it was damaged. And I guess the people got it repaired or whatever, so they did whatever they did with my possessions. But I had pictures of it, and they told me to keep submitting the pictures, and I did. So, and they finally sent somebody out a year or so later, and only thing I had was the pictures. And I pretty much since Hurricane Mathew haven't received any help, any assistance from FEMA, and only thing I get told is one thing: do this, do this, do that, and it's just no progress. And I lost all my personal property for myself, my two daughters, and my grandson.
And you lost this property, you lost your personal property
Because,
while it was in storage?
Yes, the storage unit was flooded. The stuff that we put in storage because the city we stay in, the magistrate found that the house that we was living in was unfit for human habitation, and told us to get out of it because we couldn't live there. So we put all of our stuff in storage. And then when Hurricane Mathew came, it destroyed everything that was in the storage unit. All our possessions, everything was gone. We had went to another city to stay with a relative, and then when the hurricane came, we couldn't get back into Wilson because the flood water was so high. Whatever, we couldn't get back from where we were into the city of Wilson from Rocky Mount where we were. And then when the water subsided and we came back, that's how I found my stuff in the storage unit. All the stuff had water and the mold all over it, and some of the stuff was just it just messed up.
Okay. All right. Give me one moment while I look over this, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. One moment.
Thank you.
Alrighty, thank you so much for holding. So I was able to look over your file. I did see that our inspector, March 7th of 2018, spoke to the mini storage located at 3451 Ward Boulevard.
Mm-hmm.
They stated that the unit sustained no disaster-related damages during the hurricane, and no other renters had reported personal property damages out of 140 units. The employee states that the items were auctioned off January 2017 due to non-payment.
Sir, ma'am, if that person from FEMA would have came out when they made that first appointment to come out, and I met them at the storage unit, they would have saw my property had been damaged. Now, the second one that came out, I no longer had it in 2018. I didn't have the storage unit. I did not have the storage unit in 2018. I had it when I had it. And the people, when they made that first appointment for the FEMA inspector to come out, that person did not come. And that's why I said I kept calling and calling. And they told me, ma'am, you have to wait your turn. And we sent somebody, but the person we sent out didn't come. So you're going to have to wait till we find somebody else to send out. And that was when you say March of 2018. This happened in 2016, ma'am, 2017. I waited a year. And I told you the only thing I had was pictures. I no longer had that possession, and they told me what I was told is that they had sold that unit. They sold the washing land, storing more dry, washing land, storing more, whatever it is, dry, laundromat, that's what it was. And they said they had sold it to somebody else, so the same people didn't even own it. The people that owned it when I had it is not the same people that owned it now. When the inspector in 2018 came out. So my thing is that this person would have came out when they first made the appointment to come out, when it first happened, all of this would not have been an issue. And every time I turn around and call back, I keep getting this different story about this and different story about that. Ma'am, this is just not right. I'm the one lost all of my possessions. My 2 daughters and my grandson. We lost everything that was in that storage unit.
Well, at this point, you would have to speak to the storage unit about that.
Ma'am, no, I'm going to speak to the people don't even own it. I contacted FEMA for help, not the storage unit, and this is being recorded.
Well,
I made an application with FEMA, not with the storage unit. My things were destroyed because of Hurricane Mathew. So if you telling me that nobody got any other, there was nothing destroyed other than for washing and storing more, my stuff was destroyed. Our stuff was destroyed. My pictures show that it was destroyed. We at the storage unit when I took the pictures. These are not pictures of taking it somewhere else and just giving it to them. I'm standing right there at the storage unit. I'm taking pictures of the black mold of the storage unit, in the storage unit. Right down on the floor. The water's all in the bags. My possessions got mold and stuff all over them. I'm hanging it outside on the pole so that people can see, so you can see the mold. Because the man didn't come. The person from FEMA did not show. So the only thing I did was took pictures of it. All the stuff was in bags. All my stuff in boxes. I'm a minister. My robe and my stuff was in that storage unit. My suits and clothes was in that storage unit. My children's clothes, my grandson's clothes, all of our stuff was in that storage unit. Our material possessions, our personal belongings. And if somebody wouldn't have to take nobody's word, if inspector would have showed up. They would have seen it for themselves. What employee at a storage unit that can tell somebody what they doing going on in my storage unit is paid for? And the FEMA inspector didn't come back out. The first time it didn't come and finally came out in 2018. This happened in what? 2016, 2017, 2016. And when the inspector didn't come out, I called back to FEMA and let them know he did not come. Whoever you said you were sending did not show. I was there. They wouldn't. If they would have came on the day that they supposed to came out, then no, he would have saw the damage. I wouldn't have to use pictures. But because the FEMA inspector didn't come, I took pictures of it. The best that I could using my cell phone that I had. We didn't take all this stuff out because it was messed up. Ain't anybody going, that stuff got black mold on it. That's dangerous for your health. I'm left with nothing. We left with nothing. And as I said, if the employee would have came out, the inspector would have came out the first time that appointment was set, they wouldn't have to take no word of nobody. It wouldn't have been nobody. What they doing taking somebody's word? I didn't think the FEMA inspectors get paid to take somebody's word for something. They come to see it for themselves. That's the point of inspecting it. You come and see what the damages are so you can estimate or whatever the procedure or processes is that y'all do in order to find out what the damages is worth or what the value is per y'all or per whatever guidelines you have to follow or go by. And they said that the person that some employee from the storage unit said they didn't have any damage, but they have 140 units. So if I find out that they telling a lie, then they committed fraud. And FEMA went along with it, because I know they had damage, because it was not. Maybe that's what we need to do. How do I go about doing that? If it's been fraud committed. Because if they saying that they didn't have any damages, and that's what you said that thing says, right?
Mm-hmm.
And exactly what do it say now?
1 second, I'm reading other notes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so back in 2017, we sent you a form for continued housing assistance.
And ma'am, when I contacted them back, I told them that I wasn't living in a house. And that's when I asked them what was continued housing assistance. I never received housing assistance because my possessions were not in a house.
That's what it's called.
Well, ma'am, see, that's what I didn't know what it was for, that procedure. When I called and spoke back with somebody, and I never used that because I didn't, realize that I could use it. My things was not in a physical dwelling, so they told me that I couldn't because my possessions was in the storage unit. And then I called back and asked, what is this? And they say it's continued. And I was like, I can continue something I never received. I never received any kind of housing assistance. We had no housing. It wasn't,
2018, we requested documentations from you.
And I sent every last bit of it. I have the email still. That's where I submitted all the pictures. I submitted the copy of my the rental thing for the unit.
Okay, FEMA has determined you are not eligible for FEMA assistance because there is not a signed declaration and release form on your file. If you decide to appeal this decision,
I appealed it and I signed that declaration of release online. They told me, the lady said I could write a statement or something. All of that is in there. Ma'am, I tell you, every time I turn around and call back, they tell me do something different, do something different, do this, do that. And I keep doing it and I'm not getting anywhere. I'm the one, our family is going without. We don't have. We lost all of our stuff. And this has been years ago now and it's continuing. It doesn't feel well to walk around and you don't even have decent clothes to put on. How can I go somewhere and minister? I don't have a robe. I don't have the attire to wear. And I know the Lord said, come as you are, but you're supposed to be decent and in order. And it's not like I didn't have. I had. It's just, it was lost. The stuff was damaged.
so they sent you a continued housing.
When I called in, they told me that I asked them about that. Why was it continued housing? Because I never received housing. They never provided me with any housing or any assistance at all. None.
Well, yeah, the housing you wouldn't be eligible for because
right. That's what I'm saying. Why would they send me something saying something about some continued housing, but you're not assisting me with getting my possessions, getting my property, personal property and stuff, my children, my grandsons, all their stuff, replaced. Nobody asking for nobody to get some anybody that you knew. I mean, well,
you can't replace those things.
Well, whatever the procedure is, ma'am, I don't know. Because like I said, every time I turn around, I'm told different things. Every time I call, they tell me something different. So I don't know what the process or the procedure is. It's just been going on for years.
And what are you looking for, ma'am? Are you looking for money?
No, I'm looking to get my personal possessions back. What do you mean, money?
There's no way we can get your...
Well, how do you go about getting the money then? What do you suggest? Or what is it that FEMA does? What is it exactly that FEMA does? I need my personal possessions. I need the things that I lost. Either replace it or whatever it is, replacement of it or what the value of it or whatever. Whatever it is that FEMA does, I don't know because nobody has told me yet.
Well, based on what it is that we see, we can't determine the value of that.
Well, if FEMA would have sent that person out when they supposed to came out and saw it with their own personal eyes, then they would know. I didn't tell the inspector not to come out.
I don't even see that an inspector was set to come out.
Well, the inspector was sitting out because if you read them emails that you say you're reading, when you read before that, when the original one, the one came out, the first one came out, that didn't come out. Well, the first one that didn't come out, then I kept calling, and whatever, they finally sent one out. You said it was March the 7th, 2018. And the only thing he saw was pictures. And he said he would document that. Because there was nowhere in the world that I didn't even own the storage unit at that time. I wasn't renting that storage unit at that time. Because I didn't have it. It was all the stuff that was in it. The Hurricane Mathew had messed it up. And I didn't even have it at the time. The only thing I had was pictures of the storage unit and the things that was in it. And the damage that occurred.
The value.
Ma'am?
How would you like us to determine the value?
I don't know. What is your requirements to determine the value of a thing? I don't know. I don't know what FEMA guidelines are to determine the value of it.
We would have to go out there, but
Well, see, he didn't come out. The person didn't come out. The original inspector did not come out. And it's written in there. That's how this second person that they sent out that did come out came. Because they told me I had to wait my turn. It was other people that was there other than myself. The first person didn't come out, so they would have to find somebody else to come out. And that's why I took pictures, because that person didn't come. The person that they said was the inspector, we were supposed to make that. There was an appointment made and scheduled and made, and I kept the appointment. I was there, but the FEMA inspector didn't come. And it was in my name and rented by me at the time, and the damages to the personal property was there at that time. And that's why I took pictures of it, because the inspector didn't come. And nobody could tell me when they were going to come. Only thing I was told is, now, Miss Cook, that person didn't come. So only thing we can tell you is that we can reschedule it, but you're going to have to wait your turn.
okay.
And my turn didn't come up until March of 2018, right? And what did you say that the storage unit people said? You said something in the notes about, ma'am?
There was no damage. There was no disaster damage to those units. And according to inspector, no disaster-related damages were found.
According to what inspector?
Application. Our inspector.
What date was that?
This was in 2018.
So you saying March the 7th? Ma'am?
You were calling, so they were still looking into it.
What was my call-in date? My original call-in date? What was my original call-in date on the application? Because I know it was no 2018.
No, it wasn't. Give me one moment. That was after your appeal information.
The original call-in date?
The first time you called in?
Yeah, when I filed the claim. The
that
date.
Was 2016 in November. So, yeah.
Now, see, after that, they set up an appointment for an inspector to come. And that person did not come. And I kept the emails, because when he didn't come, I emailed FEMA back and told them the inspector didn't come.
Did you receive a text message from an inspector? Did you receive a text message or a call from that inspector?
I didn't receive no text message, no call. I received the email. They set up the appointment. They set up an appointment and told me what time. If it was an email or a text message or something on the phone, then maybe it was. Ma'am, it's been a long time ago. But I knew they set up an appointment and told me to meet that person there. They told me to meet that person at a certain time, at a certain date at the storage unit, and that's what I did.
Ma'am, we do not set appointments. We do not set appointments. The inspector will contact you, and you and the inspector will set up a date and time where you meet. If the inspector did not contact you, there is nobody that works for FEMA that can set that appointment for you.
Well, if the inspector sent me a text message, then...
receive a call?
Ma'am?
Well, you just said that the inspector did not send you a text message.
No, what I'm saying is, ma'am, it's been a while ago, but like I said, I did get written notice from somebody, the appointment, and I thought it was from FEMA, but you said it's from the inspector, right? Well, what I was told is that...
Well,
ma'am?
FEMA and the inspector, we are one. But the way that we go about it, we wouldn't have sent you an email, ma'am. We would send you a call.
No, they sent me emails because of my communication, because I have epilepsy and 2 growths because of my disability. And that was my means of communication. That's why I have so many emails. I have to go back and repeat them and remember them.
I see all the emails we sent you, but there's no inspection request, or there's no inspection here for your emails. For us sending out an email for you for an inspection. That's not what we did.
Well, they sent it by text message then, ma'am. I don't have that phone from years ago. Only thing I know is there was an appointment set up and the person didn't come. And I kept calling back, and they kept me. And you try to tell me that FEMA waited to 2018 to make an inspection of property from a call that was made in 2016.
There was, okay, 1 second. Okay, so what my system is showing is that you had one inspection prior set up, but it was literally in 2018 as well.
Well, I don't know about what your
It was
system.
issued in 2018.
On what date? Cause honey, I mean, excuse me, ma'am. I don't
Was
mean no disrespect, but
that was
that's not.
January.
Is what?
No, it was in January you were issued. In February they came out, or they went out, and they spoke to the people that work at the place.
I don't know anything about that, ma'am. So you saying in February 2018 somebody made an appointment with the storage unit people and didn't include me in it? And then set up another appointment for an inspector to come out after they said somebody told them that the possessions were not there in March of 2018. Something about this ain't even adding up, ma'am. Don't you think something wrong with that story?
Well, no, it makes perfectly sense to me.
How do it make perfect sense, ma'am? As soon as you call somebody, if I called you in 2016, somebody gonna go out January 2000. I'll make a call and then schedule to go out and do go out February 2018, and determine there's no damages to the property. Something ain't right. If this happened in 2016, who keeps storage up in a storage unit that's deteriorated with black mold and all such on it for a year or two? Black mold, wastewater, even the walls of the storage unit, you can see in the pictures where the mold and stuff is all over the walls inside the storage unit, outside of the storage unit on the ground, the cement part, black mold. Even on the blankets, my dresses, my clothes, the children's stuff. And I didn't take all of that stuff out of the unit because I was not going to put my hand on all that black mold and all that other stuff that was in there. I took pictures because the person or whoever was supposed to have made the appointment to come out at that time did not come. And when I was there and they wasn't, I just took pictures of it. And then we went back to the location where we're at. And then I contacted FEMA back to let them know what happened.
Okay, so basically they allowed you to appeal, and when you appealed in 2017, you did not send the letter in the proper format either.
The letter that I sent in, ma'am, I told them the lady told me what I had to write in it, and I did. So what you saying? What did they do all of this? If I did something wrong in 2017, what format did I not do?
You did not submit the proper information within it.
Which information was it that was needed? Everything that I wrote down what she told me to submit inside that letter, and that's what I wrote in there. So what was it that I didn't have in the letter that should have been in it?
So you were supposed to include your place of birth, your date of birth, your address.
And I
Your
did.
request must be notarized or submitted with a declaration under penalty of perjury statement. All requirements must be met before it can be mailed. Must be resubmitted with all requirements. So that's your full name, your date of birth, your place of birth, your damaged dwelling address or your current mailing address, your signature, your request to be notarized or submit with declaration under penalty of perjury statement.
What they told me is I could write up there that what I'm stating is truthfully. I swear that this is what I say is truthful. Now, I don't know about notarizing. I didn't have no money to get anything notarized. No income. I've lost everything. So exactly what is it that you saying is up there that I didn't put in that letter?
Damaged property. Your name is here. The date is here. Last four of your social is there. There is no declaration of penalty or perjury. There is no place of birth. Your date of birth is not on here. Last four is here. Reg ID is here. Disaster number is here. Yeah, that's what you're missing. You don't have the penalty of perjury. You don't have your date of birth. You don't have your place of birth. Yeah, those things were missing. So they allowed you to appeal twice.
No,
And either
they what?
They allowed you to appeal twice.
What they told me is that when we did the final the part of it, that's why I said, ma'am, they keep changing the story. What you saying, telling me now is something different from what they told me then. Every time I turn around, it's something different.
They told you to write in the documents. They actually were trying to work on this for you in 2018.
Well, ma'am, what they told me to write in those documents and what they told me to write is what I wrote. Nothing less and nothing more. Nobody sent me any information back from FEMA saying that I did not complete it incorrectly.
The first time that we sent for inspection was in 2018, and that was per your request.
No, the first time they had an appointment set up for an inspector to come out was before 2018. But you saying you didn't even...
That's what I'm trying to tell you. I do not believe that is FEMA. I do not believe that was FEMA at all. We don't have anything in our system showing that you had an inspection.
So that was somebody impersonating FEMA?
Or either that inspection went into complete very fast due to the fact that they spoke to the storage unit. Like, all the notes here state that they spoke to the storage unit multiple times, and the storage unit is saying that there was no damage. And at this point, ma'am, FEMA has stated you were told September 20th of 2022 that the disaster is closed and you're unable to submit another appeal.
When they told me that, ma'am, the lady told me to go to the U.S. Justice Department and file a complaint because that was like fraud. Because she was saying if you got pictures that can prove that there was damages to that storage unit, and these people that own the storage unit, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am, and that's why I'm telling you. Yes, ma'am, and that's why I'm telling you that at this point, this is not a FEMA issue. You have to deal with the storage unit.
The storage unit lied to FEMA, though. I contacted FEMA. If the storage unit lied to y'all, then y'all should be going after them for lying. What proof did y'all have? What proof did y'all have that they actually did not have any damages? What proof did the FEMA inspector note that it was, other than just that person's word, that there was no damages to that property?
Ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
There is nothing I can tell you outside of the fact that the information that we have in the system from you and the information that we have in the system from them, the pictures, when I just looked at them, I can't see that there's any damage. They're distorted. They look black and white. So I'm sure our caseworkers looked at that and they were not able to determine, so that's the reason why they wanted to call.
Ma'am, I resubmitted the information. When they told me that they couldn't see it and it wasn't clear, I resubmitted it and they told me that they could see it. As a matter of fact, I'm still here looking at the email, one of the emails that was sent.
Well, ma'am, at the end of the day, at September 20th of 2022, you were told that we could no longer do anything to assist you. and that it would be best for you to go deal with the storage unit, and whatever civil matter that you choose to deal with them in. As of right now, this disaster is closed. There's nothing we can do in regards to this disaster. It's closed.
Well, I saw something on the news where they said that North Carolina and FEMA was having issues and that people was going back but not getting assistance back from Hurricane Mathew. And they was having some type of legislative meeting or something or whatever. And that in regards to where millions of dollars that FEMA had or whatever the control over and they're not getting it. So I'm trying to see what the heck is really going on. Because I'm one of these people. My possessions was gone, but you saying that FEMA, you just took the word of the person that owned the storage unit. There was no actual physical damage to show that there was no damage to the property, and you saying now that you're saying that they couldn't even see my pictures. So maybe I need to come to FEMA, go to the legislature and present them with these pictures of my damages and let them look at it and decide it. Because the storage unit number is there, the storage unit is there, my possession is in the storage unit. So somebody's telling a lie, somebody's committing a fraud. And I've been waiting all these little years to get assistance and it don't make any sense. And you saying y'all made a decision based on the word of the person or the employee of this storage unit. Or the company that owned the storage unit. And you saying you don't even see in the system where they sent out anybody before March of 2018. And this happened in November of 2000, well, before November, but I found my thing in November of 2016.
The first correspondence we received from you was December of 2017. That's the first time you submitted any type of pictures to us.
Well, I'm not saying you saying it was November or something when I filed the complaint first, right? In November.
Yeah, you filed in November, but without you helping us, what are we supposed to do?
Well, that person didn't come out. There was, like I said, ma'am, they had scheduled for someone to come out, and the person didn't come out. And you said maybe now that person was not, an employee or whomever, FEMA that sent that. It could have been somebody else that sent it or whatever, and that's why that person didn't come. So now you're saying that person wasn't there because he wasn't supposed to be there because it wasn't from FEMA. It may have been someone else. And people do play with technology, so I can give you that. That much I do know. And if I didn't know they wasn't from FEMA, if I was expecting something from FEMA, I would know that it wasn't FEMA. I would think that it was. But you saying in your system it says that FEMA didn't send anybody out until March of 2018. But they called to this storage place in January 2007 or 2018, and then came out to the storage place February of 2018 and spoke with some of the employees. And then set up the appointment to come back out and talk to the same inspection unit with me March of 2018.
They didn't go back out in March, did they?
Yes, ma'am. That's when they came to the storage unit with me. They met me at the storage unit.
If you had no storage.
That's right. I had the pictures. I didn't have the storage. That's what I told you. I did no longer have the storage. The only thing I had was pictures. That's why the inspector told me to submit the pictures. He took copies of the pictures himself using his phone. He took pictures of my pictures. Because that's all I had.
So the notes from March 7th of 2018, it states that personal property stored pre-disaster. You had your stuff in there already due to eviction. Unit was rented on September 4th, 2016, according to the documents provided by you.
And it was?
We spoke with the employee at the store more mini storage located at 3451 Ward Boulevard. They stated units sustained no disaster-related damages during Hurricane Mathew, and no other renters reported personal property damage out of 140 units. Employee states items were auctioned off January 2017 due to non-pay. Unit rented was a 5x8 storage unit with minimal personal property /clothing observed in pictures provided by the applicant. So at this point, this inspector also not only spoke to them, but came out and saw you and saw your photos and everything else. So he spoke to both of you in the same day, and he was able to look at your photos, but there was minimum clothing or personal property.
All of our stuff is in that storage. What is minimum? That's what I'm saying now. What the heck is really going on here? Because this doesn't make any sense. None so whatever.
Basically, what we saw, you were not. Basically, what we saw, based on what we saw and based on what the storage unit stated, you were not eligible for assistance. So FEMA allowed you to appeal that decision like we do everyone else. You have
no, they told me I couldn't appeal it. That's what they told me. I could not appeal that.
No, ma'am, you appealed it. You sent the letter. You appealed it.
If I sent the letter in, then they told me they couldn't make a decision or finding upon it. Because my thing was, what did my letter say? What did my appeal letter say?
Ma'am, you sent the appeal letter in. You also told me that the lady helped you with how to appeal properly.
No, I had more than one appeal. You saying this is the second time, right?
No, I'm just stating that you were able to appeal, period. Like, it doesn't, you were able to appeal the decision. So you appealed the decision. The first appeal letter.
But see, they didn't tell me about all of this. They came out and spoke to the inspector and spoke to the storage unit companies and whatever. I didn't find this out till 2022.
Ma'am, it happened. You said that they met you up there.
No, they met me at the store. I didn't know he spoke to nobody at the storage unit. He met me. FEMA was meeting me. I was the one that had the loss.
He met you March 8th, 2018. And when they met you, they also spoke to the storage unit, which is what they're supposed to do.
Well, ma'am, nobody would. My possessions wasn't there on March 18th. And that's what I'm saying. This is fraud. If this company has actually defrauded FEMA by saying that somebody didn't receive damages that did. Is that not fraud? If you say that somebody, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It is. If they say if it's true that they did it, then yes, that would be considered.
Well, how do I report that type of fraud? It's considered what, ma'am?
I don't know, ma'am. You would have to report that against your storage unit. That has nothing to do with FEMA. You would have to go and civilly state that the storage unit did not truthfully declare information. That has nothing to do with FEMA. FEMA was just the company or the entity that they gave the wrong information to. You have to handle this with the storage unit, ma'am. There's nothing we can do for you at this point forward.
So it's not FEMA's responsibility to inspect the property until years later.
We already did, ma'am.
Ma'am?
We did what we were supposed to do, ma'am. We did everything that we were supposed to do, ma'am. I do apologize about the delay and the time that you received your inspection. But when we were able to, we did come out and we did take care of what we could take care of. I apologize it didn't happen in a timely manner. We're doing everything we can to serve multiple people dealing in disasters, but we did everything we were supposed to do, including allowing you to appeal.
Well, what was the appeals results, ma'am?
You're at this point. You're no longer able. There's no results. You're not. You just are ineligible.
What was the appeal decision? What was the decision?
You're ineligible due to the fact that you did not turn in the documentations we requested from you properly.
And see, that's what I'm saying, ma'am. That is not what they told me before. And I bet you that is not in my documentation for my appeal. Because that's what I'm saying. That's not what I appealed. If I would have known they would need some information from me in order for me to receive assistance, ma'am, I would have submitted it and resubmitted it.
The letter that you sent in was not sent in properly.
Well, see, nobody told me that until now.
I apologize about that.
FEMA didn't tell me that until now. This is 2024, and I'm just hearing about this.
And also, yes, ma'am, and also, our letters that we send out, they do have time frames. So if we send you a letter out in let's say February, you have 60 days from that time, or 30 days, whatever the letter states. If you don't submit the documents within that time,
And that's why they were sending, ma'am.
Not.
And that's why come they were sending me the letters and stuff by email. It's because I didn't have a physical address. I had no place to send no. I had nowhere to send mail. They would send me the letters and stuff by email, and I could fill it out online.
At this point,
That's why I said a lot of this stuff doesn't make any
yes,
sense.
yes, ma'am.
But I thank you so much, ma'am, for your time, because you have told me things that I had no idea existed, and that, like I didn't put something in a letter or something like that. If I would have known that back then, instead of what they did tell me, I definitely would have put it in those letters and resubmitted it and made sure they received it.
And I apologize.
And that's why I said, man, every time I turn around and I call somebody, give me a different version of the same story or the different version, and it's just getting nowhere. But I thank you again for your time, ma'am, and you have a blessed rest of your day.
You too.
Mm-hmm.